was talking about what kids paying for.
Oh yeah, I saw this on Facebook and I was like, this is a good conversation piece. Should kids pay rent when they live with their parents?
And I'm gonna let Gary go first because I have grown kids.
I will say no, but I'll say no unless they're not trying to do anything else. Cause in my particular situation, I had lived with my parents after the age of 18, but I was going to school, I was working, and I was contributing. I just wasn't in a place where I can do all that and afford an apartment. Right. So my parents, loved me enough to allow me to get to where I needed to be.
He added that part. They love me enough.
Yeah. They want get out at 18. You getting out.
You know some people whose parents were like, "Oh, you're 18.
It's time to go."
You know what I'm saying?
Your mom put you out.
That's where we mess up. That's a reason black people are still behind financially, economically, and fiscally.
They don't have the option to stay with their family and their parents.
Yeah.
Like you see, Asian community and Hispanics and stuff, they have 12 kids and still live in the grandma's house.
Yeah, they usually stay there until they get married, until they have the money to get.
And you see that they have their own neighborhoods and their own corners of
businesses, and
so
they're thriving.
They must be doing something right.
Exactly.
Yeah, we could probably take a page out of that book.
But since someone who got grown kids who are able to work, LaPree.
So I gave my daughter an option when she turned 18. I was like, okay, if you go to college, because she wanted to go to college. Now I'm not one of those parents that say you have to go to college. She wanted to go. I said, okay, so you're gonna go to school. That means that I would rather you, if you're going to work, have a part-time job, focus on school, don't pay any bills unless you get in trouble with school or you don't go to school. So the agreement was keep your grades up, work part-time, and you can stay with me as long as you want to. So what happened with my oldest daughter is that a year into college, she wasn't doing so well and her grades dropped and she got dropped. So I was like, okay, well, you breached the agreement because I actually we signed something. I wrote it out and I had her to sign it.
And everything.
Yeah, of course, because I don't want her to be like, well, you didn't. No,
well,
right. I want it to be clear in her mind. This is what has to happen before, whatever. So she breached the contract. So I was like, okay, well, since you're not in school anymore, you can go ahead and work full time, and you could pay your phone bill.
Yeah.
So it started off with being her phone bill. She would even complain about that, though. She'd be like, why you making me pay $40 a month? I'm like, girl, you're working full time. $40 ain't nothing.
Well, that's like 2 hours.
Right. And she wasn't on my lease agreement.
Yeah.
When I moved, she had to be on there because she was above the age of 18. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, since you have to be on the lease with me, I need you to pay $200 a month for rent. Because she was working full time. She wasn't in school.
Did you need that $200?
No, but I was trying to build her responsibility factor. Like, okay, every month I need to be making sure that I pay my bills.
That's the principle.
Yeah, so I didn't need it. I was still going to be able to pay the rent without it. But she was complaining about that. $240 a month. Dang, mama, that's a lot. Dang, mama. So, and I'm like, well, girl. And then, y'all, it was the funniest thing. When she started getting unemployment, they got the extra $600 on top of what they were making, right? Yeah. So my baby was getting $800 checks, $700, dollar checks or whatever.
She must not have been doing it right.
No, it's because she's a server, so she's only making like $2 or $3 an hour.
Okay, that's why. Okay.
Yeah. So she's sitting on this money.
Some people who was getting like 15.
Yeah, she was making like probably $2 an hour. But anyway, so when I found out about the stimulus or the packet getting the extra $600, I'm like, well, you should have complained about the $200. You can do that and one little swipe and not have a problem.
Right. As a matter of fact, you can pay ahead.
Right. Yeah. You can pay, and I told her, I was like, you can pay ahead from one check.
Right.
So she fiddle-faddled all around, and she still was like, well, mama, I got to move. I got to get a car. I got to do this. I got to do that. I was like, Pinky, please, come on. But she ended up giving it to me at the end of the month. And I was like, why did you wait till the end of the month to give me the money? She was like, you didn't tell me, like, what part of the month I had to pay. You just said a month. Ah!
Try to pull the clause
fast
on
one.
I was like,
she done greased up.
She found a loophole. Yeah, she found a loophole.
Found a clause in the contract.
So, and you know what? I did not say it had to be paid on the first. So the only thing I could say was, girl, shut up. Don't be disrespectful. That's all I can say.
Right.
But do I think that grown kids should pay some bills in their parents' house? I feel like they should if they don't do their part.
Yeah.
But if they doing what they supposed to do,
Like,
then
you
no.
just dry living here.
I don't
You
think
ain't
they
buying no food. You ain't doing no extra.
I don't
nothing.
think they should. I don't.
Do you think they should contribute in the household some kind of way? Food?
No, not contribute. They should contribute. Like if you eat a lot, if you a fat ass, then yeah, you need to buy the groceries.
Right. Or your own groceries. Just buy your own stuff.
Well, not even your own, because if you live with like a house full of people, it's like that's just
No, okay,
Yeah,
eat outside. Eat outside.
yeah, or just eat outside. But
Yeah.
but okay. So when I was 17, going on 18, I was finna go into my senior year in high school, and then I had got a job. I got my first job at McDonald's, and my mom was like, I had just did the interview, and
I'm loving it.
you gonna finish it? You gotta finish the whole jingle.
That's the only part I know.
Do the I'm loving it.
I'm loving it.
There you go.
Paulo said he gonna need that light bill and some of them groceries, something on them groceries.
You told Paul to.
Hey. And I don't like when people do that.
But no,
like,
so I had did the interview, which is so funny. Your ass got a McDonald's cup. Anyway.
The golden arches. They got the golden arches. We got the golden arc.
Right. So
they got
I had
sesame seeds on
I
there.
had did the interview, and my mom was like, how the interview? I was like, yeah, I think it went good. I got it or whatever. She was like, okay, well, let me tell you what you finna pay for.
See, whole bills,
And
that's a lot.
She was like, you finna pay. Now, at first, it was you pay your own part of the phone bill,
Right.
and you pay your car insurance for you to get back and forth to work or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, cool. And then my older sister ended up leaving, and so she was like, well, then you finna pay the utilities. You pay the utilities, and whatever you got going on, you need to pay for it.
Right.
And then when I think it was 18 or 19, I was like, my friend is looking for an apartment, so, what do you suggest? Mom was like, you should go over here. As a matter of fact, you need to go on the application because you need to, go find a roommate or whatever.
Right.
So you can move. But I was still paying the utilities and stuff. And I was like, well, can I skip out on the utilities so I can have some money saved up
Right.
so that I can move? No, you just need to figure it out.
Wow. Mama cutthroat.
Yeah.
Mama
And
cold-blooded.
even though, at the time, I didn't like it because I was just like, I need the money. But then when I had got older, I was like, okay, she taught me something.
Right.
You
Right.
know, indirectly kind of way.
Figure it out.
Yeah, figure it out. And ever since then, I've been figuring it out.
Right.
And then every now and then, something will happen and I end up having to move back in. And then I will try to figure out how can I move back out.
Right.
Because I'm not finna stay there. Because my whole thing was, because me and my mom, we always will go head to head. We will always bump heads about my sexuality.
Right.
And so I was like, I'm not finna stay here and pay bills where I feel uncomfortable. So I'd rather just be out in the world where
do
I
it that way.
can be comfortable and just be flat out broke.
Right.
Or
Right.
sometimes homeless. But I was like, I'd rather do that. So I didn't like the fact that I had to pay bills, only because I'm like, if I'm paying bills, why are you calling me trying to figure out where I'm at, what I'm
Right.
doing, and then when I come home, where you been at, who you been doing this stuff with, and what's going on, that type of stuff.
Right.
So that's why I feel like don't ask your kids for money, because parents do have a tendency of treating their kids as if they're still kids.
Right.
It's
When they're
like,
adults.
you're like 20, 21, 22, 23 or whatever. It's like if you grown, like parents sometimes can't let go that they kids are grown up.
Right.
So my mom will tell me I had to pay for this and that, but then question me about where I'm going or what I'm doing
Right.
and who I'm doing it with.
Right.
It's like I'm paying the bills on time. Leave me
alone.
alone.
Right.
Right? But the fact that she was asking me or telling me to pay bills, but then question on what I was doing, I was like, I ain't got time for this.
I might as well be out paying my own bills
Girl.
and doing what I want.
Yeah, and do what I want to do. So sometimes I refuse. Like I will go back. The times that I did have to go back, I would go back for like a week or two, and then be like, all right, I'm gone again.
Right.
Because I'm not finna stay here, especially if I want to keep our relationship like on good terms type stuff. I'm just finna go ahead and just bounce about it.
Right. Let you have your space.
Right.
And I'm going to go at mine. Right. I could never live with my mom again. I left home at 18. I got married because that was the quickest way out.
Right.
I got married, and I probably shouldn't have gotten married at 18, but I did. And I left home, and I had to go back one more time after the separation of the breakup of my marriage. And that was the worst thing I ever did, is going back into her house.
Right.
And now, and that's the reason why I don't put so much pressure on my kids. Like my daughters, they always say, "Mom, you kind of nonchalant about like our personal life." And I am. Like, I don't ask Pinky where she going, what time she coming back. And I stopped doing that when she was maybe like 19.
Yeah.
Because she was starting to pay bills. She was paying her $40 when she could. But I just wanted to give her that space to be free.
Yeah.
And she even still be like, "Mom, what you think about this?" And when I tell her, "Oh, well, it's your decision. You do what you want to do," she get mad at me. She like, "I need your input." And I'm like, I don't want to sway your decision, because I don't want you to be like, "Well, my mama told me to do this." I want you to do what you feel is best. So
right. And see, and that's,
sometimes I feel like I underparent. Sometimes
I fall into also. Well, back then, like
right.
2 years ago, I would call my mom and be like, "Yeah, this is what's going on," and tell her, and she was like, "Well, you should do this or do that." But as the years went by, I was just like, I'm just going to do what I feel comfortable doing.
Right.
I'm just going to do what I want to do. Only because I didn't want to ask her, because then it's like you raising a child that can't make up their own damn mind and can't make a decision.
And that's what I don't want.
Yeah.
Maria Sandoval said, my roof, my rules, LM, laughing my butt off.
Right. You say that.
And I know Maria, I know she has a grown child.
Yeah, that part I get about my roof and my rules.
Right.
But you can't ask them to, like, pay your way and then dictate on what they doing, where they going, how they doing stuff. That's what I was trying to get at.
Okay, so I would say for me, different children need different level of,
everybody
parenting.
Different. Yeah.
Because I would say that my oldest child probably would need more parenting than my second child.
Right.
Because just of the independence factor, how they think, what's important to them and stuff like that. So I think I probably was more overprotective with my oldest than I was with my second. And then these last two, the kids like, "You just soft. You don't even do nothing. They just do what they want to do. You don't never. Why you don't whoop them like you whooped us?" I'm like, I had something to prove back then.
I had figured that out because I'm the middle child.
Right.
And so, like, even today,
I'm a middle child. We got the middle child syndrome.
Even today, my older sister, who's the eldest,
right?
She still has like a phone plan with my mom. When I got like 18, 19, I was like, I'm switching to T-Mobile because I can't deal with you in Sprint.
Right, because you ain't about to be my location.
Yeah.
Sure.
I was like, no, I'm not. I don't want my bill linked up to yours, and I didn't want this and that. So it's like, if I can afford my own, I got my own. So that was like my first sign of independence when I was like, I don't want your plan with Sprint no more, so I'm going to T-Mobile.
Right.
And then went to T-Mobile, got me a phone, and then been having a phone. And it was just so fun because she still has Sprint, and now Sprint done joined with T-Mobile. So
y'all back together. Reunited, and it feels so good.
Right. It was just, to me, that was my first sign of independence. Like, I can have my own phone. And now my sister, even though she lives on her own, it's like you still giving money to mama for your phone bill.
You ain't
girl,
grown.
You almost 40.
You ain't grown. Like, I honestly wish that I had the type of mother who probably would have been. My mom was like, get out there and get it. Like, she was one of those mamas, like, when we was little, if you fall, and it could have been because I was a middle child, she like, I don't got time for you because this one bad, and I just had a baby. But I was her only girl, too. But if you fall, my mama was not the type of mother to pick you up. You better get your butt up and figure it out. If your shoe untied and you dripped over your laces, learn how to tie your shoe. See, like, she was not the type of mama to coddle and be like, "Oh, come here, baby," you know what I'm saying?
Right. My mom was the same way, because I'm like her only son. Like, I'm the only one.
Right.
And then I'm the middle child. And so it was like the older sister needed something, the younger sister needed a little bit more. So The middle child, okay, yeah, I help you when I can. Mm-hmm. And then I realized when I had showed that I wanted to be more independent, that's when she was helping me a whole lot more. Like if I was living with, like I told you when I was living with her, and I was like, can I skip out on a few bills so I can move out? She was like, no, figure it out.
And it could have been too because you're male.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
You know?
And then when I moved out, she's like, okay, let me help you. Let me get you this. Right. You know, I'll get you some dishes. I'll buy your groceries. You can come over to, because I used to go to my mama's house and grocery shop. Like they know I was busy. Right. She was more willing to help me more when I was out on my own. So that's why I was like, let me just be out on my own.
Because I can get my help.
Girl.
So do you guys think that men should have to leave the nest before women?
I think so.
You think so?
What?
Want me to repeat that question?
Because he wasn't paying attention. He over there clicking.
Right. Leave the nest before women. And I kind of feel like, I mean, I don't know.
Like do you think it's fair?
Your son should get out the house before your daughters?
Because I feel like my sons will be in charge of a household at one point in time. One day. If they have children and get married.
Yeah, because you have to show them.
Right. So, but should I give them, like, that ultimatum, like, you need to be out before 25. But versus my daughter, you can stay till 30. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like men shouldn't have to leave before women. I
think men should, or man child or boy child or whatever. I think the male should have that ultimatum. Because it's like, especially if the man wants to go out and get married and have kids and stuff,
and run a household,
he's going to have to run that household. He's going to have to support everybody
sooner.
Right. So he's going to have to learn that.
Right.
That makes sense.
So
yeah, because I have seen men who they go from their mama house to their wife.
Yeah, and then that's how it's supposed to be.
But they didn't have that time to develop their own self as a man and be on their own stuff.
See, in some of those standards, the man had like a little bit of money behind him,
right?
Like he had some savings or whatever, or like he had something to back him up to be like, when you go out, you not coming back, type of stuff. And I think men for sure do have those kind of primal things where it's like, I need to, he's either flight or whatever.
Yeah, fight or flight. Yeah. I just feel like it's a double standard when it comes to that. I don't that's
the only double standard that I agree with.
Really?
Yeah.
I just feel like I don't agree. I agree. I don't agree that men should have to leave at a certain age versus women, because women have to run households as well. They got to know how to be responsible. What if you're gonna be because if you have roles reversed, because now it's to the point where it ain't always the man who making the money.
Right.
So that woman gonna need to know how to manage money and manage bills and take care of herself as well.
The only reason I say that is only because I saw my dad. He was in his 30s, living with his mom, and I didn't know if he had to or wanted to, but it was weird.
It didn't look right.
It seemed kind of weird.
Yeah.
And then my brother, he ended up getting out. He like moved out and and got his own place and had a baby mama and whatever. And now he's in the pen because he made the wrong decisions. And I think that because of his upbringing, he didn't have that kind of he didn't have a structure to be like, let me do this the right way so that I can provide
for my family.
Yeah. And I got it, and I was mostly raised by my mama. So,
right.
So it goes to a deeper conversation.
And it depends on all that. Who raised you, what kind of values they have.
But I still think as though, I still say that if that men should be taught at an early age, this is what you need to do, this is what you're supposed to do it. And you need to learn how to provide either for yourself or for your family. Just like I don't see nothing wrong with teaching a man how to cook. Because if you ain't got no woman, you need to learn how to feed yourself.
And not no microwave. You need to learn how to cook on the stove. Right.
Yeah. So like you teach a man that, you teach a man
how to wash clothes, how to clean up.
What the Bible say?
Spoil a man a fish.
Yeah. Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day, but you teach him how to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. That is true to this day. You got to teach him.